Good morning, Maldives. A very warm welcome to this exclusive interview. Today, I'm joined by the UK Minister for Indo-Pacific and Minister for Equalities, Honourable Seema Malhotra. Minister, welcome to the show. Hendunu Henduna.
Hendunu Henduna.
Yes, you said it right. You nailed it.
Thank you very much.
First of all, a very warm welcome to the sunny side of life. How do you find your experience so far?
I have had an exceptional few days here, and I've been so honoured to be able to come as the Minister for the Indo-Pacific and to be here to celebrate the 60 years anniversary of our diplomatic relations, but to really pay tribute to the partnership that over so many years has defined our relationship. It's a relationship of trust, of ambition, of respect. And it has been an incredible honour to meet with ministers, to meet with diplomats and officials and the First Lady. And to do that, celebrating not just our partnership of the last 60 years, but also to be recognising how much more we can do together for the future.
Wonderful. So you mentioned that you're here to celebrate a milestone year, 60 years of diplomatic relations between the UK and Maldives. Very historic. The UK is a country we love, and of course we do have historical ties as well. Now my question to you is, what are the areas of cooperation that you're interested in pursuing while you're here?
Well, it is indeed a milestone year, and I very much wanted to make it to the Maldives in this year. And it is exciting to see the areas of shared interest that we have. My discussions with diplomats, with ministers, with indeed also with the First Lady have focused on a range of areas. The first major one, I believe, is the climate security, climate cooperation. And that's important because we recognise the challenge, particularly for the Maldives, where 80% of the Maldives is just 1 metre above sea level. Right. Climate change, the impact of climate change is real, and it's today. And the action we take, and with the international community being part of that partnership, is incredibly important. But I know that in other areas, including our defence and security, and also looking at education, and how we make sure we support our trade together. These are really important areas for growth and prosperity and for a safer and greener future.
It's very interesting that you mentioned climate cooperation, because climate is something that we are really concerned about, and we have been an advocate for climate, and that's one area of interest that we share with the United Kingdom as well. Where do we stand in terms of climate cooperation at the moment?
Climate cooperation, I would say, comes very much down to our cooperation on clean energy, green energy, where it's a shared priority, but also on climate resilience. And I've been really pleased to be able to visit a project in Hura this week as well, where I have seen for myself the impact of that partnership between the UK and the Maldives, where we are supporting the mangroves conservation together, and to see and to talk about that with local community members too. Because what we see is the importance of being able to work with community-led solutions. And we also see the impact of the knowledge exchange between the UK and the Maldives, to see the impact of sharing research and science and so on. But to see the impact that it's having on that mangrove restoration and rehabilitation, to see the fruits of that, and to also see that that learning can be shared and be developed, and what we discussed was also how we continue to work together for the future. Look, this is really important in the mangroves I've seen here, and on my other work in the Indo-Pacific, where I've been to Brunei and other countries. What we understand is that the mangrove preservation is important for making sure we deal with coastal erosion, that we're supporting biodiversity, and very unique biodiversity that is so important for the climate and the environment here in the Maldives. So I will be taking that experience away, not just of the work that we've done together, but also how important it will be to continue those partnerships and that expertise exchange in the future.
Interesting. Speaking of education and knowledge exchange, it is no secret that a lot of Maldivians have been trained and educated in the UK and are being trained and educated in the UK as we speak. What is the cooperation level between the UK and Maldives at the moment in terms of education and skills?
Well, I'm really pleased to be able to announce that this year we have 11 Chevening Scholars from the Maldives. That's a record, and it is a tribute as well to the strong relationship, historical education relationship between us. We've now seen a total of 70. I'll start again. We've now seen around a total of 70 Chevening Scholars, and that's important because, as well as a very good and strong education, it's also about building the leaders of the future and the partnership of the future. But in addition, I'm really pleased that we're seeing around 300 Maldivian students in the United Kingdom doing a whole range of courses. And look, I think that speaks also to the shared respect and trust that we have between our nations, but also the strength of our history. What I also see is that where we are seeing young leaders working together, we're seeing that collaboration. It is growing in areas as well where we have interests for the future around, for example, the green energy transition. Look, we have very much supported the Maldives target of 33% of clean energy by 2028. And it was also the case that President Muiz had recognised the strengths of the UK in this and welcomed the contribution we're making in terms of expertise and opportunities to share that. And so I'm really pleased as well that, as alongside our students exchanging experience, that we're able to see many ministers coming to the United Kingdom, as we've seen this year with the President as well making a visit in July. And that's important because when I come here to have these conversations, I'm building on that work. And we are welcoming in the next few months the Environment Minister coming again. And what we've talked about is how we can make sure we can share the best of our research, the best of our capability, the best that our companies are doing, and where there are opportunities to collaborate and work to support the Maldives transition, that we are ready to do so.
Now let's talk about the oceans. I'm sure you can see the sea not too far off in the distance. Maritime security is something that is very crucial, something that we talk about incessantly in this country. Where does the UK come in to help us when it comes to maritime security, regional security at large?
Maritime security is essential. What we recognise is that the Indian Ocean is increasingly vital for trade, for transport, and the security in the Indian Ocean is important for our security too. It is important that we increase collaboration in relation to maritime security. That's why we're working to do that alongside the Maldives and other countries. It's why we have our maritime security working group that is looking at some of the significant issues, including smuggling and illegal fishing, areas and issues that are affecting both the physical security and also the trade security of the Maldives and of other nations. We believe that it's important that we continue to work together for a prosperous and open Indo-Pacific and a prosperous and open Indian Ocean. That's why I've been really pleased to have some of those conversations here with ministers and departments, but also to recognise that close and strong partnership between the UK and the Maldives being pivotal, not just today, but for the future we create.
I think that's very good news for us Maldivians because we are children of the sea, children of the ocean. 99.7% of our territory is nothing but water. Now I want to revert to the fact that this year marks 60 years of UK-Maldives diplomatic relations. What does it truly mean to have completed 60 years of diplomatic relations and meaningful people-to-people contact between the UK and the Maldives?
Well, what I believe is that it has led to a strong relationship of trust where our governments continue to work together on issues of shared interest, and that's been a strong message of my visit this week. The fact that we have 200,000 visitors from the UK here every year, I think it's the third largest contribution to tourism. for the Maldives. The fact that we have 300 students going this year to the UK to study, the fact that we have that history with our Chevening scholarships, the fact that we have partnerships around security, the fact that we have our contributions to also tackling issues like drug smuggling with policing, counter-terrorism that's been on the conversation, in our conversations this week. All those areas and issues where it requires a sense of deep understanding of each other's history, a deep understanding of each other's administrations, a deep personal connection between our politicians, a deep personal connection between our people. That sense of deep respect is incredibly important, and it is the basis and the environment of trust in which we can have those conversations around our economy, around the prosperity for our young people in the future, around the green transition that's so essential for all of our nations, and around the future that we want to create, a safer, a greener and a more prosperous future for the Maldives, for the United Kingdom and for all those that we work with.
If I may add, there is a great number of British holidaymakers coming to the Maldives as well, and also Maldives remains a country which can access, a passport which can access the UK visa-free, which is also something that we should talk about when we talk about people-to-people contact, the mobility, the exchange of ideas and culture between the two countries.
Look, that's absolutely right, and the fact that that we see that increasing number of Maldivians who are also going to the United Kingdom, as well as the 200,000 that we see coming to the Maldives each year. Look, it's not just a destination of choice, it is a place that people feel that they can come to safely, that they feel that they are able to really engage and be involved in the work that the Maldivians are doing here, and whether that's understanding also nature conservation, areas in which the Maldives is also a leader. And I think that sense of contributing and being part of a better future is extremely important. But we are also so pleased to be able to welcome not just students, but in all the conversations I've had with so many in the Maldives here and our politicians as well. It's a strong recognition that whether it is in defence and our armed forces, or it is also policing, or it's our students, or it's our researchers, it's our climate researchers as well, that those partnerships are deep, and it is so important to be able to say that we welcome Maldivians to come to the United Kingdom. It's easy to come with the ETA that's very, very quick, and it is also, I think, a mark of the relationship that we have. And I want to give that very strong message that the UK is as a long-standing partner and friend of the Maldives, and one that will be here for the long term, supporting Maldivians in all of their aspirations, and to work together for a much safer and prosperous future.
Speaking of shared aspirations, how do you envision the future of UK-Maldives partnership?
I see the future of the UK-Maldives partnership continuing to go from strength to strength. We've seen that in the conversations I've had around our shared priorities, around growth and security, around climate impact, and working together to do what we can to improve resilience for the future. But also in the work we're doing around education, and indeed I would say equality. Many conversations I've also had around the progress of women, which is important to me also in my work as an Equalities Minister in the United Kingdom. And I was so pleased to be able to talk to the First Lady about that too, and to meet with women members of Parliament to talk about our work as women involved in politics and civic life, but also to recognise that it is important to look to the welfare and the progress and the civic progress and leadership of women, which is extremely important both in terms of our civic society, but also making sure that politics is informed by the lives and the voices of women.
Thank you, Minister. On behalf of Henduna Henduna and Television Maldives, we would like to thank you and the United Kingdom for all the great work that you're doing in our country.
Thank you so much. It's been an honour to be here and a pleasure to join you.